Optimus Magnum.
What's up, everybody? It's Optimus Magnum, and I wanted to bring you my Madden sliders. And I know that a lot of people play Madden. I play it religiously. I love Madden a lot, but a lot of people like to play it online, and I like to play it solo. So I like to make the best sliders possible to get a nice, good, competitive game against the CPU, whether it be the CPU kicks my butt or I kick the CPU's butt or whatever. But you get kind of bored with Madden after a while if you're blowing out the CPU all the time. And you want to make the AI as tough as it can be, along with adding a lot of realism to the game to make it look like a great football game you're playing, and to make it for, no bull crap, basically, no people's the CPU judging where you're going and throwing passes like that and being able to just burn you, or doing that to the CPU without them being able to think properly. So I'm going to give you some sliders. I'm going to give you some game options I play with, and sliders to help you play solo on your connected franchise mode, and have you have a great time on Madden 25 like I am having. So let's get into it. Go to customize, go to help settings, and I'm going to take you right into the game options. Now for the game options, I have it on. I started this off on all Madden mode. I don't play on anything else really. I love to play on all Madden, but it's just tweaking the all Madden set sliders that helps you make for more of a realistic game. So now all these things like Heat Seeker, Ball Hawk, and Switch Assist I have on, but when you play in game, for some reason on Connected Franchise, they're already turned off. So I usually pretty much play with them off, but it's all preference for you. You don't have to use them. The thing I do definitely recommend is auto strafe off, because that is annoying. It's like when you take over a player, when you're with a player, it automatically like slides to the left or right. It does stupid stuff, so I don't like it. I leave it off. Now injuries I have at 15. It's because for some reason in Madden 25, players get injured way more frequently than normal. So to reduce that, to reduce the injury that happens every 5 plays, it seems like, I put it to 15. There are still injuries in the game, so it adds still some realism. It's just not as bad as it is when it's turned to even any more than 20. So it's up to you to put what you like injuries. If you like a lot of injuries, then hey, leave it like that. But I like it where it's more or less a big hit will cause an injury, or some kind of like a block or something happens where a person gets injured. That offers more realistic view for me, so that's why I leave it at 15. Now the fatigue is at 62. I like it when players get tired. It adds, like I said, again, more realism to the game, because players do get tired and sub in and out. And you just have to choose how you want your players to sub in and out, and leave the fatigue there. Like I said, these are all settings that you can tweak. These are not the gospel when it comes to Madden settings, but feel free to tweak them how you like. And if you can, like I said, if you can do better than me, obviously, against the CPU, and you're superb when it comes to battling the CPU, then hey, take your settings and tweak them so that they're even harder. But game speed I leave on slow, because I like for a slow, definitely a slow, not slow looking game. It isn't like slow motion, but it offers more of a realistic feel to it. The speed is still fast. It's not slow at all when you look at it. It's just a little bit normal. You can break down plays a little better when you're playing. It just offers more realism, like I said. Now this is the most important. Player minimum speed threshold. You want to leave that down to 25. Why? Because you want to have a disparity between your faster players and some of your slower players. It used to be where a player had a linebacker has 70 speed, but your wide receiver has 97 speed. Your wide receiver goes by him, but for some reason there's this invisible wall barrier that stops your receiver from being able to run and catch the ball. And it basically, you don't see it very often. It's kind of like a quick thing that happens, but it lets your 70 speed linebacker catch up to him. And it sucks, because there should be disparity between faster and slower players regardless of what they are. A 65 lineman shouldn't be able to catch a 98 speed cornerback when he intercepts a ball and he's already running past them. So you got to have it so it's more realistic speed approach when it comes to that mode. I mean, it doesn't let you completely burn people. It still gives you a chance to, you know, when you're making moves and stuff, you can still catch up to a player, like in real life, how you see when linebackers or defenders or, you know, offensive players catch up to each other. So that's the most important thing, is this player minimum speed threshold. And right now I have it at 25, and that seems to play perfect for me. You can still burn people deep. You can still have it where, you know, linebackers, and it just all takes speed into account. So now let's get right into the sliders. Oh, let's do the penalties first too. Real quick, if you want to write these down, feel free to write these down. Just pause the video or do whatever you got to. But these are how I had the penalties. Offsides at 48. They call a lot of offsides when you put it pretty much any higher. It gets to the part where it's annoying, where it's almost every play. False starts, you have to put down a little bit, because every time you go to like do a play where you're trying to, you know, make the defensive line jump by cadence, by just snapping, because you're trying to hold them off from jumping off the line of scrimmage, there's false starts, so you gotta like turn it down a little bit. Holding I have turned up because there's a lot of holding and they don't call it a lot, it seems like. Face masks, they call sometimes too many face masks, so I just put it 1 down. You can play with all these settings like, you know, like you want to. Defensive pass interference, I hardly ever see it called. Only like there's been a couple times where I try to hit somebody and I tackled the defender by accident before the ball got there, and they call pass interference on me. Offensive pass interference gets called way too much, and almost like to the point where if you throw a ball where there's 2 offensive guys around, they'll call offensive pass interference for no reason. So I started turning that down a lot as I played, because I noticed too many frequent offensive pass interference calls. Like, it was getting a little ridiculous. This I left alone. Clipping, I turned it down. There's a lot of clipping on the kickoff returns and stuff like that. That was a little annoying. Intentional grounding, I see a lot of it sometimes, but they don't call it, so I turned it up. Roughing the passer, I turned it up because I see a lot of times where my quarterback was getting killed after I threw the ball, but they don't call it, so I threw it up. I threw that a little higher. Roughing the kicker, I left alone, and that's it. So let's move right to the player skills. Now you can download these online. I have them saved, and I'll show you where what's the name of them. Feel free to download these settings, and you can like load them into your connected franchise mode when you play. But for quarterback accuracy, I put it at 25. That's the best I've seen, where you're still accurate yet inaccurate at times depending on the run or how you're passing or whatever. Pass blocking, I have it on 4. I know this seems a little low, but it still gives you some time to diagnose the play, still gives you time to deliver a strike, it still gives you time to run away if, you know, they're blitzing or somebody gets in. And believe it or not, I mean, it's almost realistic, too realistic, when the player gets in pretty fast on you on the offensive line. It's like, you know, you got like that 1-2 seconds to quickly think and throw the ball where you gotta throw the ball. Sometimes you get a little longer, but I mean, it offers a lot of realism to the game, and it lets you feel like you're actually a quarterback. Now, wide receiver catching, I left it alone because sometimes it just drops too many balls. I just left it on 50. I experimented with lower, but it drops way too many balls. Like, it was getting insane. Like, just wide open drops, or just drops in general, like everywhere. So I left it at 50. That seems to be a pretty good area to leave it. Run blocking, I have it at 9 because it's just almost too easy to run on the CPU. So I left the run blocking at 9. Fumbles, I put them at 45 because I was fumbling way too much when you move it any lower. Like, you're almost fumbling like every 2 or 3 plays, it seems like. I don't know. You can mess with it the way you want to, but it just seems like I was fumbling way too much. So I left them at 45. It seems to be like a little bit better. Like, you still fumble here and there. You know, if you get a big hit on you or something happens, you still get fumbles, but it's not as frequent. Pass defense reaction time. Now, most of the time you are the defenders, and so you want to leave this as low as you can leave it, where it's not getting stupid and you're not even defending the pass at all. So this is 19. I have it at. That seems to be perfect for me. It gives me enough time to react, press the button, get to the receiver, and try to intercept, or, you know, tackle him, or whatever I got to do. Interceptions, I have it at 45. If you put it any lower, it's hard to intercept. It just seems like it won't let you get an interception. I don't know, it may be just me, but I've had it where I've been playing safety. I read a play, jumped on the ball, and had it just bounce off my hands like it was I don't know, like it was one of those big balls playing kickball with, and it just bounces off your hands. I don't know, or you're playing dodgeball and someone throws a rocket at your face. just one of those kind of things, and I didn't like it, so I turned it up a little bit, because when I break on a play and the ball's thrown, I should be able to jump and get an interception as an NFL safety. I mean, you see safeties do it all the time. So I turned it up, and I've been noticing it's a little bit better. You still drop balls sometimes, but you do get some of the interceptions, so that's a lot better. For pass coverage, I put it on 21 because that's pretty much the best setting where, you know, they pretty much stay with defenders or with the offense when they're on defense, and they don't stick to them like glue. You know, you still gotta defend, but it offers, like I said, more realism for you when you're on defense. For tackling, I put it at 45, or else the CPU just runs you over. It'll literally run your guy over like every time you go to tackle him, and it gets a little annoying when you try to tackle one person with like 7 guys and it keeps running over all your players. So I left it at 45. That's pretty much effective tackling, whether you're one-on-one or you got a gang tackle going on. And then all the other stuff, you just leave it alone. And as you see there, sorry, I just went out of it. It's OM Realistic Player, so look that up. It's OM Realistic Player for the player skill settings. You can find those online on the download section. I'll show you where to find those later. But CPU skill, they're called OM Realistic CPU, obviously for Optimus Magnum Realistic CPU. These are CPU settings. Now, their accuracy, I leave it up because, you know, it's better to have a more accurate quarterback throwing the ball to them. And their pass blocking, I put it down to 22 because they're getting a little way too much time in the pocket. And this still offers a lot of realism where they still get a lot of time in the pocket sometimes, and sometimes they don't, depending on whether you're blitzing or depending on what players you have in the game, your fatigue level, things like that. Now, for wide receiver catching, I have it on 48 because they were catching balls with one hand. It was just getting a little insane with the catching, so I put it 2 down so that they can, because it is a CPU, they're going to catch more balls than you are. So now they seem to catch everything, but they still catch everything, but not as crazy with the one-handers and dives with one-handers and stuff like that. Run blocking, I turned it up a little bit because they don't run the ball a lot, and when they do run the ball a lot, they don't seem to block very well. So I turned it up to 52 to make it a little harder for me to get to run defenders when they do block. I've been experimenting with this, and I still stop them, but sometimes they do manage to get 100-yard rushing games every now and then. So it depends on who their rusher is and stuff like that and their skill levels. But like I said, it makes it for a more realistic game, especially when you're playing a running team. And they do run a lot. You know, it makes it difficult for you to try to stop it, and you have to figure out how to stop it by picking defenses. So fumbles, I turned it up to 60 because I was causing a lot of fumbles and I didn't like it. So I turned it up to 60 so that they wouldn't have to fumble so much. They still fumble when you get a big hit on them. Like if you get a nice big hit, they'll fumble. Not all the time, but it happens a lot. So if you get a nice solid like single hit on them, you'll cause some fumbles. So have fun with that. Play with that any way you'd like to, but that's the way I have it right now for myself. Pass defense reaction time. Now this thing, for the reaction time, you want to turn this down to 34 because then they start anticipating the play. It's almost like they know what you're doing, so you go to pass the ball and they're sliding into the coverage and they're cutting off the play before you even diagnose the play and know where you're throwing it. They're already anticipating where you're throwing it. So you want to leave this down because you want to give them a chance to react slower when you throw the ball, not react before you throw the ball. So that's what I mean. Interceptions, I have it to 40 because they get a lot of interceptions. When that happens, they just seem to be able to catch everything, and no matter how they throw it, it's weird. It's almost like everything that goes their way is caught, even by defensive linemen and stuff like that. So I turn it down. It seems to work better. They still get interceptions in the secondary. It's just that they're not getting those crazy interceptions by like defensive linemen when you throw the ball over their head. They're not catching like the ball so fast. It's weird. Now, for pass coverage, I have it on 65 because they should be able to cover your players well, and you should be able to have to defend it or throw a nice clean ball and lead your receivers. So that's how I have it like that. For tackling, I have it to 70. Very important because you don't want to break too many tackles. You want to have it where you're constantly getting by them. They can't tackle you and you're running them over. You want to make it so the CPU is effectively tackling you, so it makes a more realistic game. You have to use your hit stick or use your precision running better so that you can avoid defenders. And it should be like that because it offers more realism in them tackling you. So, and like I said, the rest of the stuff stays the same. So that's it for the sliders. If you want to pause the video when I did it, write it down, write the sliders down, or just download them. If you don't have Xbox Live and you want the sliders, all you gotta do is copy them, like I said. Or if you do have Xbox Live, you just gotta download it from here. I will show you real quick. Okay, now if you're looking to download the files, all you gotta do is download community files, and it takes you to the file page in which you can download files. Now you just gotta go to CPU sliders here, which takes a little while because it has to load every one of them. Depending on how fast your internet speed is too as well, you download them, so you know. So you just go here, you find my sliders, which are right here. OM realistic CPU for CPU sliders, and for player sliders you just gotta find OM realistic player sliders. Now the way to do that, you can do it by gamer tag, and my gamer tag of course is Optimus Magnum. So feel free to search by my gamer tag, download my sliders, and have some fun tweaking them or messing with them the way you want to. But I hope this was helpful. If it was, let me know in the comment section what you think. Let me know how you're doing in Madden and stuff like that, and let me know how my sliders are helping you out in, for a more realistic game. But like I said, start on all Madden, then implement the sliders, and then see what happens and tell me what you think and how you're playing. All right, so take care. Don't forget to like the video, and peace out. Optimus Magnum signing out. Peace, y'all.